We have a lot happening in our nation. We have drones in the sky, and apparently we have fires on the ground. The travesty that is absolutely destroying Southern California is heartbreaking to watch the visuals and to hear the stories of people losing their home.
Almost 180,000 people have been ordered to leave their homes around Los Angeles as 5 fires continue to burn, 2 of them completely uncontained. This is what the flames are leaving behind. Entire neighborhoods completely destroyed, everything gone. Only the charred remains of trees have been left standing.
Now is the time for us to get together as a country, as human beings, and help, support, and pray for those affected by this wildfire. And it's also a time to look at how, why, and what's stopping it from being handled in an efficient manner. Let's talk about it. Joining me, as always, the one and only Frosty. What's going on, Frost?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have several things to say about this fire situation in California.
Well, we're waiting.
I was kind of a little bit late to it. I knew it was happening because typically we get wildfires in California every year. So typically I didn't think it would be too much. I thought it would be like normal. It was going to be bad, but not too bad. But once I finally really saw other people commenting on it and then seeing like, oh, we don't have water. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing about that, but the fact that the lack of water reserves, the lack of planning, the lack of basically it's like on multiple levels from the governor all the way down to the city, the failures on handling the situation. It's truly sad. And the thing is, they've been calling this stuff for a long time. Like whether it be Joe Rogan.
I talked to a fireman once. He goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean and there's not a thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing they can do. They just got to get out of there.
Whether it be Trump.
In 2024, Trump talked about this issue with Joe Rogan.
You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
Billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, you know, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. When a tree falls down, after 18 months it becomes very dry. It's like, you know, like real firewood. It's bad. When they fall,
right,
they're like, you know, it's like lighting a match.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to clean. They call it maintain your forest. So I was with the head of Austria. He said, you know, it's a shame. I see all those forest fires in California, and all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, you know, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the deadfall. I don't think you could rake the whole forest.
Well, you could,
I think you can get rid of the deadfall, but raking all the leaves.
You could certainly get rid of the dead, okay?
Yeah, I think that's the real issue.
You know, environmentally, they don't want to do that. They said, you know, it's got to be nature and all this stuff.
Where there be other people who are local.
The guy that Los Angeles voted not to be mayor, who was defeated by the current mayor in Ghana, explained that the problems go even deeper.
Our first responders and our firefighters who are trying to battle this, there's no water in the Palisades. There's no water coming out of the fire hydrants. This is an absolute mismanagement by the city. It's not the firefighters' fault, but it's by the city. And I'm going to be very honest. We've got a mayor that's out of the country, and we've got a city that's burning, and there's no resources to put out fires. So if you look at your pictures, you don't see the firefighters there because there's nothing they can do. And it looks like we're in a third world country here. The brush up in these hills that are controlled by the city and the county, I would bet you that if they haven't been handled, mitigated, pruned, removed for probably 30 or 40 years. This was a disaster waiting to happen.
They don't do enough forest management. They don't do enough preventative things. So in the future, if something did happen or occur, that it would be the mitigation would be much higher. Because some people, I've seen various reports. Because I've been looking. They say, "Oh yeah, well, some of this was set by arsonists." I mean, is that possible? Absolutely. But also too, if your ducks are in order, if you have the things as much as possible, it can minimize the damage. But if you don't have a proper plan set in place, and then someone, let's say, does set a fire,
now that's a fire. That's a fire. Look at that. Look at that. He be all right. Roll Charlie around. Roll him around in there.
it's just gonna go out of control. It's like, wait a minute, shouldn't we have a plan for this? I saw one of the clips maybe 2 days ago, or maybe a day ago, where the fire chief, where she said that she didn't know that the one of the reservoirs they were using was down for maintenance. So there was like multiple millions of gallons of water that was just not there at all.
Los Angeles' water chief reportedly knew about an empty reservoir and broken fire hydrants months before the deadly wildfires now spreading across the city that have left some communities in ashes.
And I was like, how's that?
Huh?
That tells you there's a failure in their government, in their city, that that the weakness was exposed to a tremendous degree. In the midst of something like this, you can point out the failures, but you're really going to see how bad it is after everything's settled. Some people say, "Oh well, they're trying to politicize it." To me, it's not really a political thing. It's just saying, "Hey, you need to do this. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. You just need to do your damn job."
Well, then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit, so it's together. And if you gotta take it somewhere, you know? Take it to the shit store and sell it. Or put it in a shit museum. I don't care what you do. You just gotta get it together. Get your shit together.
That's that's all I think most people will want, especially when it comes to safety, security of the city, and that's in your purview. Do your job. And I remember years ago when Trump was in office the first time, when they had forest fires, it was in the different places, but the idea is still the same when it comes to the government, the state doing their part. And I was actually looking at older information about people who lived in California for long, so they're probably born there, uh, lived their whole lives, and they know the difference between, let's say, the 60s and 70s, maybe early 80s. Their attitude towards fire prevention has changed tremendously. Whether it be doing the fire breaks and some other preventative things, clearing the the forest floors. But of course, when you have entities that are environmentalists, uh, who say, I don't, the older I get, whenever I hear someone say they're an environmentalist or like tree hugger type person, it to me is different than someone that said they, of course, you care about animals and plants. You want things to work well and still have. You're not trying to just wipe everything out, but you want to conserve. I think that should be the right word. You a conservationist. You want to have a balance. You know that sometimes you gotta cut and burn. Sometimes you have to shift over here just to make sure that everything's good. But some of these people who was it I think it was the Sierra Club. I forgot the name of that one activist thing. They don't want you to do nothing. They don't want you to do anything. So they even sued. Let's say, hey, we don't want y'all touching this, or we need a 3-year environmental impact. It's like, okay, Los Angeles, the greater Los Angeles, including the areas around it, is home to many, 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 many people, millions and millions of people. And just think about the state as a whole. They have one of the most populous states. And if you have to compare California to a country, it's like high on the list as by itself for GDP. They can't do some of the basic things. Because if they talk about this, going back to those agencies, uh, um, I mean not agencies, but the activists, they say how much they care about this animal, that animal. What about this? Just extinction of that. You have okay, let's say some European countries, they have big forests, right?
Okay.
But they manage their forests. They don't have the same issues that we have. Even though they probably you could say they're more liberal in some of these other countries in their ways of handling things, but they still have enough sense to them. Go, you know what? Uh, we still need to clean this thing up. We still got to organize. We still got to take care of some basic stuff. But here it's like the two things don't collide. Common sense and being we call it when you're being responsible. It's like the two don't meet.
No, I get what you're saying. Let's go here for a second because you seem to have a very strong feeling about the situation. So let's go back here a little bit. The cause of this fire. What is a summation of what has caused this current forest fire situation in California?
If you listen to what they're saying now, they're saying that it's climate change.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
They say that climate change is the cause for all this. Like what? Are you serious? That's a scapegoat. Because of course the elected officials, people in charge, they don't want to take any responsibility for their part. We're nobody's saying that, hey, mayor, you started this fire. Hey mayor, you I saw you in the forest over there lighting matches and with a burn barrel, or you're just dumping stuff, and you know nobody's saying that you're directly caused this fire. We're
Okay.
just saying it's just the management.
Okay. So like I said, the whole what they say, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So but what has actually caused it is what? Just poor
Just
management?
very. I believe it's a combination of things.
Okay.
From what I'm
That's
saying,
it. Give us the combination.
combination of things is piss poor management on what they already have, where they've been cleaning the floors, uh, cutting the trees, and stuff like that. Of course, and you have some people, and probably some of these fires are probably arson. Then you got some of them that's probably with homeless people, the homeless population could have caused it because they do have set fire, not intentionally so, but being hey have these homeless camps in different places, and then they probably lit something that wasn't watching it or whatever, and they got out of control and it moved. That's a possibility. That's another part they're talking about also, and of course the exacerbation is, of course, the winds of that were 90 something miles an hour in some places, which is it happens. Santa Ana winds happen. I mean, they know it happens. It's not like a brand new thing. But that's from what I'm seeing so far. That's what I can understand. It's a pre-existing issue, possible human error, whether it be someone intentionally or accidentally setting fires, uh, combining all that with the winds created this catastrophe.
Okay. So now we have what the actual, I'll say, root cause, boots on the ground situation, which is let's call it the, like you said, Santa Ana winds,
Hmm.
the current climate, which I have learned is cyclical
Hmm.
in that area. This particular season, I forgot what it's called, the El Nino season right now. Don't quote me on that. Anybody watching, I can't remember exactly what it's
Every
called.
few years it cycles
Yeah,
between them.
cycles. Yeah. So it's the environmentalists, the idiot tree huggers,
Hmm.
don't understand that it's not new. This happens every few years.
Hmm.
Neither are California forest fires. They tend to happen every few years as well.
Hell, Texas get forest fires.
Yeah. I believe that now that we have the common cause, my next question to you would be, so what is making this particular fire situation worse than, let's say, the fire situation of 2 years ago, which was, one of the worst ones up to date, up to that current moment? If you would like to hear the rest of that, feel free to join us on our Rumble channel, still under Free Mind Thinkers. There you will find the full and unedited version of this video. Remember, until next time, to stand up, stand out, and think differently. Holla.